Good afternoon, everybody. It is the OMG Hour, episode number 371, and it is June 12th, 2020. Of course, I am your host, Sean Evans, otherwise known as Zion Tane.
And I am Tico, Mr. Second Place.
Hello, Tico.
Hello, Sean.
How's your week been?
It's been okay.
Have we talked much this week? Other than while we were watching the show yesterday?
I don't think we have. I think it's been one of those weird weeks. It's gone by quick.
Yeah, it's Happy Friday.
Yeah, it has been quick.
Although it's a Friday for you every day, so, what am I saying?
That's true. We did see each other this week. I think that may be part of it, is I think the fact that we saw each other. We
actually got together this past week, and we played some board games, which we're going to talk about off the show. We've got other plans for that. But, yeah, we got to get together and play some board games we hadn't played before, so it was good to see you again finally after 4 months.
Yeah, 4 months now that the restrictions on social gathering are lightened.
They're quite a bit lifted now. Like, malls are opening in our area. Not in your area, actually. In Hamilton, they're still closed, but here in Waterloo, Kitchener, and most outside the Hamilton, Toronto area, malls are actually open now.
You can get a haircut again.
Yes, that's very important. I need to get a haircut.
Apparently it's super important to some people, but yeah, things are starting to open up. You can see family again. You're allowed to hug your family again. That's allowed. Don't worry, I won't tell your family in case you're trying to avoid
just in case.
Just in case. But you're allowed. I believe it's a social circles. It was just announced today. Social circles of 10 are allowed to congregate without the social distancing.
So things are starting to hopefully get back.
We're getting back.
We're
getting back
to
to
normal,
something.
Whatever normal is going to be. But
We're getting to the new normal.
We have a huge show today because yesterday, of course, was the Sony PS5 event, which we're going to talk about shortly, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. But first, I want to talk about just a little game. It's just a little game that Sony is releasing next week. Sony Computer Entertainment Canada provided me a code to review this. I mean, you may have heard of it. You may have heard of this title.
I might have.
It's called The Last of Us Part 2.
No, not heard of it.
I've been playing this game. So I talked last week about I played The Last of Us Part 1, so I could be ready for Part 2 without saying I already had Part 2 and didn't want to start until I'd played Part 1. But so I've been playing Part 2, and wow, it is absolutely fantastic. This time around, you play as Ellie. So the first time you played as Joel. Now you're playing as Ellie. So this is more of Ellie's story continuing on. It takes place about 4 years after the original game. And wow, is this game ever fantastic. Absolutely gorgeous visuals. Like, it is stunning how beautiful this sort of post-apocalyptic world is.
Yeah.
I keep going back to things like Fallout. Yeah, and how desolate it is. And to me, this is what a post-apocalyptic world should look like. It should be full of nature. And that's what's sort of happening here. So a lot of the game takes place in Seattle. And it's, destroyed buildings, some buildings falling down, crumbling, and yet all taken over by scenery, by nature, and it's just gorgeous. What I really love about this is just the exploration as well. So you've got your stealth and your action going on, and it controls identical to the original game, right? So you could go straight from the first game to this game, and there are no controls you have to relearn. It's the identical control mapping and control scheme. Right.
It's nice when they do that. They don't make you like, oh, by the way, we've added this new. They can move the buttons around. So if you love the first game, you're going to be confused for the first 10 minutes of this game.
Right. No, you can jump right into this, and you know exactly how it works. It controls a little tighter than the first. So you know how last week I said it was a little loose. The controls are a little loose. The controls are not as loose, but still have that same feel when you're controlling a character. And I realized what it was as I'm playing the second one, what it is that always throws me off. Because when I try to think of stealth, I think, of course, about Assassin's Creed. But the one thing I've noticed is that your character will always walk in the direction the camera is sorry. Your character will always face the direction the camera is facing. So, in games like Assassin's Creed, you want to look at the scenery, but you're walking forward and you want to pan the camera around and look at the scenery. Yeah. Your character can still continue to walk forward as long as you kind of change this direction of your left stick. In this, they don't. You can change the direction of your left stick, but your character, Ellie, will always face the way the camera is facing. So essentially, if I'm spinning around looking at the scenery, so is she. And that's what throws me off. That's what makes it feel weird to me. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just realized that's what throws me off.
That's what's different from how.
Yes.
You want to go around, like, I want to glance to the side. I don't have to turn my head. I can just turn the camera.
Right, but basically what they've done is they've tied the characters' visuals to basically what you as a player are also looking at. So as I pan the camera to look around, Ellie turns around to look. Even if she's walking, she will actually turn around and start walking backwards if that's what you're doing. And it just throws me off a little bit. But visually, it is absolutely gorgeous. I am not going to get into the story at all, because this is a story that could very, very easily be spoiled. And I do not want to spoil... Sorry, I hit the mic. I do not want to spoil a thing about this game, because it is... how do I put this? It is so engaging from the moment it starts. There are a lot of wonderful cutscenes that are in-game cutscenes. So the character you see in-game is just as gorgeous looking visually as they are in-game, right? So it's not like, old games used to switch from cutscene back to gameplay. Yeah. No, this goes seamlessly from gameplay into cutscene and back again. So smoothly that basically it's beautiful, but the story is so compelling and so engaging that there are times when I feel like I'm watching a movie. I am so engrossed in what's going on. Beautiful. I feel like they've taken The Last of Us and they've upped the scales and they've upped the quality 1,000-fold. The first game was beautiful for its time as well. It was a gorgeous game when it released, but it was released basically late cycle PS3. And The Last of Us Part 2 is now, of course, late cycle PS4. It, basically released exactly the same time frame in the console's life cycle.
Yeah. I hope they don't screw up the TV show.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do for the TV show. Are they doing a show?
Yeah, they're doing a show. I
based on the game or based on the world?
I believe it's based off of the game.
Interesting.
But I'm not 100% on that. I believe it's for HBO.
Well, that's interesting.
But I know that I think they just got a director. So I really hope they do a good job with this, because it sounds like the story is going to be very compelling, and it looks like something that you could do a very compelling TV series with.
You could, but it doesn't have to center around Joel and Ellie. You could do a story that takes place in this world. Now, what's great about this, too, is even the protagonist, and again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the protagonist in this game isn't really this sort of cut and dry bad guy. You know what I mean? It's the enemy's motives are just as valid as Joel and Ellie's motives. And that's what really kind of speaks to, what's important to the character versus what's important to you as a player, in your sort of moral compass. You want to play because you're playing as Ellie, but you're like, I understand why these bad guys are doing what they're doing. and they're no better or worse than Joel and Ellie. You know what I mean? It's really that juxtaposition of what's truly right and what's truly wrong, and it's absolutely fantastic. Wonderful storytelling, really really engaging story, very engaging gameplay. Plays super well, beautiful. The music is enthralling because it's truly telling a story through the voice work, the acting, the music. It is a true cinematic experience what they've done this, and it's my understanding. I haven't finished the game, but my understanding is it's about 4 times as long as the original game. So it's
how long was the original game?
The original game was about a 6-hour campaign, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so you're putting
this
up
is
there
now
around 20 hours.
This is now a 24, 25 some odd hour campaign. So the map in this game too, I just want to speak to that a bit because we're watching it on screen right now. It's actually Ellie finds a map of Seattle, a physical map on paper, and when you want to look at the map, she pulls the map out of her bag and writes notes on the map, and that is your map of the game. It's so cool. At least
does that pause the gameplay, or is that in real time?
Oh no, that's real time because basically she has to put her backpack down and pull it out. Like it doesn't pause the enemies, so you got to do that when there's no one around, because I like games that
I like and hate games that do that. Like sometimes you want a breather, like I want to look at the map and think about it, and sometimes you want that breather. But I also do really like when they incorporate that whole system into if you're pulling out a map, it's if you're going to do that in the middle of a firefight, that's on you.
That's on you, exactly. And I appreciate that about this game. And I know what you're saying, but it works so well in this game because if you need to craft a new smoke bomb, for example, you can't pause the enemies just because you want to build a smoke bomb. You got to find a safe place to do it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that more, particularly in a game like this where it does have an onus on stealth and stuff like that. So like you're gonna want to plan that out. So you're going to think about that. And you're going to sit down your bag and you're going to build this stuff before engaging a series of enemies.
Yeah.
So it makes you really contemplate out your battles as opposed to my method of running in and throwing everything I happen to have in my hands at them and then hope that they die.
Right. I love the exploration in this game because it's just such a beautiful world they've created here. Just riding around Seattle, discovering different locations, and then maybe investigating buildings, and of course with enemies inside the buildings and possibly enemies outside even. But it's so serene because it feels so. I mean, it's an empty city for the most part, and it's so beautiful to just explore, and I just want to look around at the scenery because it's gorgeous. It's so well done, and it just makes me wonder how is this going to be even better on the next gen systems because it's so lifelike now. So anyway, that is The Last of Us Part 2. As someone who was not a huge fan of the series, I am very quickly becoming a fan of the series, and this isn't odd for me to find myself loving a series as of like the second game because so much better. And what I feel like is the first game when it came out, I wasn't as much into stealth games as I am now. And so I didn't really get the mechanic back then, you know what I mean? So to me, it was like, it was a run and gun, and I didn't do well. But now that I understand the mechanic better, and I understand how to read the enemies better, I'm finding I'm playing the game way better than I did originally. And that's what really brings it, is understanding the enemies is part of the game. Understanding how they work. Like the clickers. Understanding how they find you. They're walking around, and every now and again, they actually scream. And that scream is their echolocation. So if you're standing in front of them, even though they can't see you, they're blind. But if you're standing close to them, in front of them when they scream, their echolocation will locate you. So now that once you understand that, you know how to creep up or follow behind them at a safe distance and then take them down stealth. Later on in the game, there's also dogs that can actually smell your scent. So now there's other tactics you need to take to throw them off, because you can't hide from them because they'll sniff you out. So there's every enemy type has a different mechanic and a different method at which you need to dispatch them. And that's different strategies that you have to employ based on your enemy types. And that's what's great about this game, is it's so full of that kind of strategy. Not only is it an adventure and an exploration, but there's strategy involved in taking down your enemies. And a fantastic story to boot. Another game that you and I got this week to review is a game I had never actually heard of until the day it came out. I was suddenly sent a review code for PS4, and we got a review code for you for Xbox. It's a game called Disintegration. I had never heard of this game, and this is a first-person sort of hover bike real-time strategy game.
Yeah, it's a weird squad, sort of squad-based first-person shooter game. It is, I believe, one of the writers of Halo was involved with this, with obviously writing this.
Was it Private Division? I think developed it. Is that the name?
I believe so.
I think Private Division or something like that.
Yeah, so it is third person. So you are the pilot of this hover bike mech. And so you will fly around and shoot your enemies and stuff like that. And you have a squad of 2 to 3 other mechanoids of some form.
The story in Disintegration, which is not really told well, the story is humans have basically found a way to live forever by taking their brains and transplanting them into mech bodies. So robots, basically. Taking your actual brain, so it's still you mentally, but you're in a robot body now, and you're practically indestructible.
Yeah.
That's basically the world they exist in. And you're going up against other mechs, and you can have different mech bodies. So one guy can be this big tank, another one might be this little sort of, petite, and each one just has different abilities as well. You can upgrade the abilities on not only yourself and your bike, but on your teammates as well. As you gain new tech and new abilities, you can attach those abilities to them and get stronger and more powerful. But I don't even know essentially what the story is, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the story is very, very secondary in this. You basically start out in a hub world, and you can go around and talk to different mech characters.
Yeah. You're just in a base, like you're in the tower in Destiny.
And that's what it really feels like. It really feels like they were trying to replicate the tower in Destiny, but it is such a vast space with so little to do in it, rather than walk around and talk to people, where it just feels... It feels like the empty space is so telling. It's like there should be more stuff here. It's it feels like we want to make this game, so here's an environment, and we ran out of assets, so we're just gonna leave it at this.
A huge empty hangar, like literally with nothing in it.
Yep, and then you walk up to a computer console and you open it up, and it's like, mission 1. Do you wish to go on this mission? Here's your mission. Here's your side missions, and it drops you into a beautiful fall scenery of a hillside, and you go around and kill a bunch of mechs that are hiding out in different farms.
And then move on, and then go back to the hub world. Talk to a bunch of people for, I'm not really sure why. All they do is basically give you challenges that you're going to try to accomplish during the next mission. And then you go to a console and launch the next mission. That is literally it. Do a mission, run around the hub, and then
talk to everybody,
choose another mission.
And then choose another mission, and then walk from one section in the thing, kill all the bad guys in that area, and then move on to the next section, and then kill all the bad guys and move on to the next section.
And if you can't tell by the way we're talking about it, it's very mundane.
It's mundane. Now that being said, I don't hate this game. I don't feel engaged in it. Like I'll hop in, I'll do a couple of missions, I'll kill some things. I had fun doing it, but I'm not engaged in the story at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't feel like there's anything really that difficult about it. You're just running through and shooting things.
I didn't find it difficult at all. I never came close to dying. A lot of the enemies actually drop healing pods, which is odd. So you just swoop down and sit inside the healing pod and it heals you. So I'm not finding it difficult, and maybe I really need to throw it up on like ultimate difficulty or something, but I find it mundane. It feels like it's the same thing over and over again. Sure, you're going to get more powerful, you're going to get more abilities, but I mean, so is the enemy. They're going to start throwing more enemy types at you. But that's all it is.
I've seen two. I've seen the big enemy, and I've seen the little guys. I guess some of the little guys are snipers as well, but...
Yeah, they're snipers.
The perspective, you don't really see a lot of details. You hit the scan button, and they glow red, so you know that's where you should be aiming.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, control-wise, it works. It works for what it is. It controls well. It's fluid. It feels like I'm flying this hover bike. You know,
I a little too much at times, because when you're trying to fine aim sometimes, and it gives you that sort of floatiness, like, okay, I'm aimed, and it gives you that feel that you're floating past the spot because you are in the air.
Yeah.
I guess that's good in terms of a mechanic for them, but I don't like it when I'm trying to lock onto something.
This tiny little enemy on screen when you're high above the battlefield. So, yeah, I mean, but ultimately it's also about, it is a first-person shooter, but it's also an RTS, because you are actually commanding your units, and your units each have special abilities that you guide them and direct them to use at certain times.
Use it. Yeah, like a barrage of missiles, or a stasis
that slows down time. Yep.
I listen. I don't hate it. I wish there was a melee button, to be honest with you, because I've landed a couple of times and like, okay, there's a guy right in front of me. I should be able to like kick him, but no, I've got to try to lock onto him with my gun and shoot him instead of. Well, then let me run him over and have it do damage.
Right?
Not like.
I think you can actually run them over. I think you can run through them. Yeah, if you're on the ground. Anyway, it's called Disintegration. Honestly, you know, with like The Last of Us 2 coming out next week, you know, I don't know if this is worth a AAA title price.
I think it's just below AAA title. Price wise, it's probably about $20 less than a AAA title. But here's the thing: when I had read about this, and like if you go on to the description of the game on the store for the Microsoft store, or I assume it's the same one on the PlayStation store, it talks about the story being written by, you know, Halo writer and everything, and they're really hyping up the storytelling in this game, and I feel that that's where they've really dropped the ball here. The storytelling and the environment I felt very unengaged with.
The cutscenes are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, they're really well done, but I don't understand what the story is. I don't even know who I am as a character. I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, it starts out with this, like, it looks like a prison break. So I think we're all criminals, but I don't know why we're doing what we're doing. It's so weird.
I think it might be you're the rebellion sort of thing.
But I think maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's this, or maybe it's this, but maybe could be. I don't know who we are as a character and why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what I feel. The storytelling in it, I feel, is lacking, and when we are in an age where storytelling is so important to keep people engaged in a game like this, I think that they needed to do a better job.
Yeah. Other than that, it's without that, like you said, it's meaningless mission after mission after mission, doing the same thing over and over again. And
it really is. It's the same thing. There's not anything other than walk this distance, kill these enemies, walk this distance, kill these enemies.
Go from point A to point B, collect an item, free another person, finish your mission, do it all over again.
And your challenges you get are like kill X number of enemies using this special boost power or something like that.
Exactly.
Like hit 20 enemies with the stasis power, or kill 20 enemies with the barrage, or whatever they call that thing, the mortar strike.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're pointless challenges.
Yeah, and you don't if you don't do them, you still succeed and move on in the mission.
You just fail the challenge. I mean, but so what? What does the challenge do for me? I honestly don't even know.
Yeah,
it's the game's poorly written. I mean, sorry, I guess I could say poorly written because I don't know what's going on. You know, if it were written better, I would understand it.
Well, it may be well written, but they don't do a good job of telling that story.
Thank you. Yeah, agreed. So. Anyway, that's Disintegration. And that we're going to move on now because we have a lot to talk about. Yesterday, June 11th, was the PlayStation 5 reveal show, and you and I watched it live. And yes. With our good friend Glenn, we were all kind of chatting at the same time. Before we get into specifics, what were your thoughts overall from you're obviously still an Xbox, you're in Xbox camp, you know, and you still plan to be Xbox Series X camp.
Yes.
Having said that, how did you feel Sony did yesterday?
I think they did a really good job, given this type of presentation where this is something that they are not used to doing, with it being all digital, and they usually are having somebody on stage explaining what's going on. The way they put it together, I thought it was put together really well. They showed a lot of great games and gameplay, and they did what they needed to do for this event. If this were the E3 presser, this is exactly what you would want them to do, is showcase the games that are coming, and they showed the console. And I think that's what they needed to do. I think they did a really good job with this. I can't see anybody really looking at this going, well, no, they didn't do enough. They did a great job with this.
They showed 25 games throughout the course, including, of course, the system reveal at the end, which we'll get to. I thought the show, I thought it was well done. I would say there was a good, I don't know, the whole middle section to me was like, just get on with it. There's a couple of games in there, things like, where's the name of it? Little Devil Inside and Bug Snacks. These were like literally, and I said this in our chat, these were WTF moments. Like, what the frack am I looking at right now?
But Sony's always had one or two of those sort of those games that had the Japanese roots or something that you're learning, that's like a really weird game, but they've always showcased those games coming from those indies and stuff like that.
These are definitely, I wouldn't call these Japanese ones. Now, if you want to say Japanese weird Japanese stuff would be, I think, something you're interested, the Ghostwire Tokyo. Now, that's weird.
That looks like Japanese Ghostbusters.
Kind of, but like again, I don't know what I'm looking. And that game didn't look like a next-gen game to me. It was so bland.
Yeah, that one there, it did look a little odd. And it is, I believe that one there is one that is it's not a console exclusive, it's a launch exclusive.
Yeah, there's two games that are PS4 launch exclusives, and that's Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop. Now, Deathloop you're interested in. Why don't you tell me why you like Deathloop?
So is it Arcane Studios?
It's Arcane, yeah. So of course the creators of Dishonored and Prey.
Yeah, so it is a weird sort of like Groundhog Day meets BioShock sort of feel to it. You've got these powers and stuff like that. And
meets Dishonored. Like there's Dishonored powers in there. Blink, that Blink power, that's right out of Dishonored.
Oh, absolutely. And so I love the aesthetic, the sort of the sepia tone to it. You play as a character who every time you die, you get sent back and have to start from the scratch. So it is really a Groundhog Day thing. Every time you die, there's another assassin that is trying to kill you.
Yes.
Every time, and restart your loop, your death loop. And so it's you going back and forth, restarting each other's death loops, trying to get as far as you can into the game. I don't know much about the game. I do love the aesthetic, and I love that first person with powers type of game. And Arcane has done a great job with that with Dishonored before, so I'm looking forward to this.
It definitely looks like a very frenetic thing, and I guess it's just get as far as you can without dying. But I don't understand like you said, there is another assassin who's trying to kill you, who I believe is also in a death loop. The question is that another real player?
Is that another real player? Yeah. Is that another mode? Or is the regular mode you just going through and just trying to get as far as you can in the game, and then that's the other player added to that is the multiplayer mode with a really cool story added to it?
Right, because the description in the trailer actually says there's 8 bosses you essentially have to kill before the day ends. And so that is the goal. Kill these 8 bosses before your day ends. But there's also another assassin, and I don't know if that's an actual player or not. Or like you said, is that just a multiplayer mode of this game?
Yeah.
But it seems like this other player, his sole purpose is just to kill you as the player, not to kill the 8 bosses.
Yeah. Her mission is to take you out. She is working for them. She is a hired assassin. It looks really amazingly brutal. Like you see a lot of neck snaps and stuff like that. It heads blowing off with gun blasts and stuff. It looks like a really cool aesthetic to the game. I'm looking forward to this because they've done such a good job with the storytelling and such before. I want to see what they've done with this.
I will be very interested in seeing it. I don't know if it's a game I'm going to end up playing, to be honest with you.
It's not a stealth game, Sean.
No, it's definitely not a stealth game, and it's a very quick. You have to
almost like a Mirror's Edge, but shooting everybody as you run past them.
Yes, exactly. It is literally your kind of game. It is a run and gun game. That is the definition of it. You must run and gun.
And a quick reset when you die. That's what I want in a game.
They started off, of course, the whole presentation with a surprise. Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is a lot of confusion surrounding this. It seemed like
this is a teaser that they showed.
It was just a teaser. It did show a little bit of gameplay, showing Miles, of course, who is Spider-Man from Spider-Man Unlimited, and of course, hugely popular Spider-Man since he was created. I want to say 10 years ago now.
Recent
the
focus piece of the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie as well.
Yes, of course. So it was announced coming, holidays this year, but everyone thought brand new Spider-Man game, and then Sony said no, it's actually an add-on or a very large expansion to Spider-Man, and now Insomniac.
And they said Spider-Man to a remastered Spider-Man that's coming out at launch.
Right. Which also has not really been corroborated.
Yeah.
But now Insomniac says, no, it's actually a standalone game. So it sounds like we don't really have the clear picture of what's going on. It's a standalone game, but is it a full game? Is it a like Uncharted Lost Legacy, where it's a standalone but smaller story? Yeah, and I think that's what it is.
Insomniac actually pointed to those games. What was the other one? The Lost Light?
First Light.
First Light.
Last Light. Infinite First Light, I think, was one they talked about.
Yeah, they actually reference those when talking about this as a standalone title in the vein of those sort of games. So I believe it is a shorter 4 to 5 hour.
Insomniac did not say that. That is Kotaku's. That is their speculation. All Kotaku said was Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales is the next adventure in the Marvel Spider-Man universe. We will reveal more about this standalone game at a future date. That is all they've said. They did not compare it to anything. The speculation is that it is a smaller game like Lost Legacy, like First Light. But Insomniac has not come out and said it. Now, I will also speculate that that's what it is, because it hasn't been long enough for them to develop a full game.
A full game, yeah.
Right? So I think it's going to be a smaller standalone game, but Insomniac did not say that. That is the speculation right now. But anyway, everyone's excited about it. I don't care how big it is, that's going to be a system seller.
It is. I'm excited about that, particularly when they launch on Xbox. I know that's not been announced, but sometimes when we say things, they happen. So I'm saying it here on the show in hopes that it happens.
Okay. So you said it here first.
Yes.
That way it happens in the future. Excellent.
That's exactly what
So
that means.
there was a lot of weird things. I mean, they announced, like I said, 25 games. We're not going to talk about all 25 games.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about every single one.
Okay,
Let's
sorry.
start here from the
Gran Turismo. Here, they talked about Gran Turismo. And I'm watching the trailer and I'm like, man, does this ever look boring? Again, another game that did not look like a next-gen game, let alone a next-gen racing game.
Gran Turismo has always been one that I have found to be pretty boring, particularly when you put it up against the Forza series.
Gran Turismo has always been a groundbreaking, visually fantastic game, and it's been Sony's answer to the Forza. Well, Forza was essentially Microsoft's answer to Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo, yeah.
Because, it is a sim game. Always has been a sim game. I used to be a huge fan of Gran Turismo back in the PlayStation 2 era. But this one, it looked like this did not look like a PS5 game. Everything looks, again, bland and boring. And I'm like, this is Gran Turismo? And it didn't even have a number on it. It's like they're just restarting it.
It's just Gran Turismo.
Yeah. New Ratchet and Clank. I've never been a huge fan of Ratchet. I didn't grow up playing Ratchet and Clank, so there's a new one coming.
I like those games. They are really good. They're decent platforming games that are fantastic if you have a younger kid that you want to get into playing games with. It is something you can easily put them in front of that has cartoon violence versus saying, well, here's another Call of Duty, that you're going to put your 8 or 9-year-old in front of. It is a good game. It's a recognizable franchise, and we'll draw some people in because they are Ratchet and Clank fans.
Absolutely. The nice thing about Ratchet and Clank, or the cool thing about it, is they actually developed it, and because it's coming from a Sony developer, like a first-party developer, they're designing it to actually show off the capabilities of the hardware. For example, It's called Rift Apart, and it looks like Clank is going through these rifts. And she also meets like a future Ratchet, like Ratchet's daughter or something from the looks of the trailer. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's these rifts that go from world to world. And what that does is it shows the power of the PS5 in loading, in the fact that you can go instantly from one world to another through these rifts. Instantly. Right? Like, you go through a rift, and just as fast as you go through the rift, that other world has been loaded. And that in and of itself kind of shows off the power of the system. They're using Ratchet and Clank the same way they used Knack on PS4. Knack on PS4 was a hardware demonstration game.
Yeah.
And in the same way, they're doing that for Ratchet and Clank. But they're also filling that Ratchet and Clank void that everybody's been waiting for. So, good on them. 2-1. Stray. Stray is a futuristic cat simulator. What?
It is such a weird.
What? I'm interested. I'm interested, but
yeah,
it takes place in this. You're a cat in this world of robots.
So it's just gonna be walking around and knocking stuff off of shelves.
Exploration. According to the article, it's exploration. There's going to be some combat. There's going to be puzzles. So it's sort of a puzzle exploration. Like, it's a Tomb Raider, but you're a cat.
It feels like one of those W2TF type of games where you're sitting there like, who was asking for this? Who was sitting there going, man,
I want a cat game.
I've got all sorts of other simulators, farming simulator. There's no cat simulator out there.
Yep. Actually, there is a cat simulator in VR. It's terrible. Don't even get me started. Let's go. The Returnal Sackboy. Did we really need a Sackboy game? Did we really need a platformer in Little Big Planet world? I mean, that's what Little Big Planet is.
Well, yeah, and here's what it is. They have an IP that they own, so they're going to make something for their next. That's the thing, and it lets them sell not only the game. It also gives them something early on to add in as a pack-in or something like that because it's their IP.
That's true.
But it also gives them, the mascot, keeps the mascot on the system and lets them sell some toys and some T-shirts and stuff along those lines too.
True.
So I can guarantee you at whatever the next big video game event is, there's going to be a giant Sackboy plastered all over their demo units.
For sure. Destruction All-Stars seemed like a weird...
that I didn't even know what the point of that game was.
Destruction
it's
Derby
sort of,
slash...
It's Rocket League meets...
Destruction Derby. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's cars running around smashing into things.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
Cars, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, you cut out there for a second.
I didn't get the point of it. The trailer was very confusing.
Yeah. Here's a game I actually, I had to go back and watch it because there's a few trailers in here that the presentation yesterday was long enough that I had to go back. I'm like, wait, what was that at the beginning? What was Kenna Bridge of Spirits? And I go and I watch the trailer
One
again.
by Ember Labs.
I go and watch the trailer again today, and it's beautiful. It's like Pixar quality animation in a game, and it just keeps. I keep going back to that whole thing when I was a kid, thinking, "Man, will video games ever look like Saturday morning cartoons?" And like now, it's like we've got games that look like Toy Story. You know, a movie that took days and days to render back in the day. That was fantastic, like CGI movie. Now our games look like a CGI movie.
Yeah, this reminded me a lot of Frozen. The time that he spends with the little rock people. I don't know if you've seen Frozen or not. You don't have a child that young.
We've seen Frozen.
Okay, but yeah, that's what it reminded me. You know, like he's sitting there training with like little rock people and stuff like.
She. Yeah.
She.
It's a she.
Okay, But yeah, just it looks fun. This is Ember Lab.
It does
Studios.
look fun. Yeah,
it's got like I don't know, a feel of Pikmin to it a little bit with the creatures, and feel of Zelda with the look and feel of the. It's just absolutely beautiful game.
I agree. It looks beautiful, and I think this is a game I'm going to keep my eye on because it looks fun. But it looks like a Zelda style game for sure. You know. So I don't know. I'll keep an eye. I love the look of it. I love this whole animated Pixar animation, and it's beautiful. The trailer just makes me want to play the game. You know, and that's good. I mean, that's what a trailer should do, right? Make you want to play the game. There was so many trailers yesterday that made me say WTF and nothing more. Yeah. It's like I don't want to play that.
There was a lot of them that I'm watching that trailer. I'm like, okay, it's great that they've got some games coming out, but I have no interest in that whatsoever.
Agreed.
Whereas there was a small amount, but there were a few that made me go, I would play that.
Yes. Resident Evil 8 Village. That's a surprise. Yeah. I was not expecting that.
I had actually seen some rumors on that, including the name Village, a few weeks back.
I love how the word village hides the number 8.
Yeah.
You know, the same way that I believe it was Resident Evil 7 was also hidden in the name of, I can't remember what 7 was called. I haven't played it yet, but I heard it was fantastic. But yeah, man, I can't believe Resident Evil is going into Resident Evil 8.
Yeah. Looks amazing.
Chris Redfield comes back looking a heck of a lot older than he did in the original.
Well, that's going to happen after that many years,
right?
But glad to see another one of those coming out. That will also be on PS5 and Xbox.
I didn't actually see that during the trailer, during the reveal.
Yeah,
I didn't even clue in that it was a Resident Evil game until the title showed.
I knew it was either Resident Evil or a Silent Hill or like something along those, or somebody coming out with one that was going to be, in the style of
wow,
Blair Witch 2 or something like that.
Yeah, they've really like the Resident Evils. It's not even about Umbrella Corporation anymore, is it? They've just gone off and done their own thing now.
This one here feels like it's sort of going back to 4 in the village.
Yes, 4 was great. 4 was
4 was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, maybe they're continuing from 4. Was Chris Redfield in 4? I don't remember.
I think so.
Was he the one that had to? It was a rescue mission for the president's daughter.
Yeah, I think it was Chris Redfield.
And it was Chris. Wow,
I believe it was Chris.
Yeah, so maybe they're going back to part 4.
Yeah.
And finally, I got my dream game, Tico. I got my dream game.
Oh, wait, NBA 2K21?
Yes, that's my dream game.
NBA 2K21 finally announced.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't it.
Well, that isn't... Wait, no, that's not my dream game. Wait, that's your dream game, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's a game I'm going to play. I mean, I don't know about dream game.
Ball sports. Sports ball, yay.
Sports ball. It is very important in, that everybody knows. It did look really cool, though. It did. I will say the trailer that they showed,
I couldn't tell what was gameplay and what was just a trailer.
It was all gameplay. That was all in engine.
I know it was in engine, but was it actual gameplay?
No, it's not gameplay. It's a teaser trailer.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, yay!
Look, did you see the sweat?
Sports ball. Did you see the sweat? I did. Did you see the sweat? I did. That virtual sweat.
Next generation sweat.
I mean, that's what
So that was their big thing when they first came out. I remember sitting in
the sweat engine
at EB, and I remember them showing off. And I think it actually was EA NBA Live where they were talking. We sat down and we were in the presentation as an EB manager, and they're showing us NBA. I can't remember which one it was. One of the arenas. I think it was NBA Live, and they're like talking about the sweat. Oh, you know what? It was Sony. It was Sony's PS3 NBA game, and they were talking about the sweat. It's like, look at the sweat. This guy would just kept going on about the sweat on these players. It's like, look at this. You can see the sweat. And it was so now that's where we're at. We've improved our sweat this much.
Yes.
So I'm glad that was your most anticipated game.
Well, I mean, didn't you notice on the Unreal Engine 5 demo they talked about the sweat engine? I mean, it's totally built in. The faster you work your character, the more they sweat. It's totally part of the next gen system of games.
It should be.
Yeah.
It should be. But I think it was something else you might have been interested in.
Oh yeah, just this small game called Horizon 2. The Forbidden West. I didn't expect them to actually change the name from Zero Dawn. So, I guess it wasn't in my head that Horizon was the franchise and Zero Dawn was a subtitle.
Yeah.
It's now Horizon Forbidden West. It has a little number 2 underneath the word Horizon, so they kind of show that it's the second. But it's Horizon Forbidden West. Boy, oh boy, does this ever look fantastic. I can't wait. So much, as gorgeous as the first game was, this is even more so.
It looks
like holy cow.
Pretty. It looks
underwater, dude.
Exciting. Yeah, it looks exciting to play. Again, this is a game that really had that great focus on story, and that's you just know you want to play this. Was now.
Oh my gosh! I just noticed that was San Francisco Bay. That she was underwater. It was the San Francisco Bay entrance, right? And it was underwater. Okay. That's where she was. Oh my gosh! I cannot wait.
It was Earth all along.
It's been Earth the whole time. Oh my gosh, dude! I can't tell you how excited I am about Horizon. I almost called it Zero Dawn, but Forbidden West.
So this is obviously I don't believe this won't be a launch title. This will be
they haven't said. They haven't said. I mean, it's been 4 years. 3 years. It'll be 4 years. 2021 will be 4 years since Horizon Zero Dawn launched, and they haven't been working on anything else. So this could be a launch title, if not a spring title.
I'm going to say 2021 in November.
Nope.
Yep.
I say spring 2021 if it's not a launch title.
You got to give an exact month, because I can say November is the spring depending on the weather.
All right. February.
Oh, you're going way early. Okay.
Oh, yeah?
So I'm November 2021, and you're February closest without going over?
Without going over? What's over?
If you go past your date, then you lose.
Okay, I gotcha. So if it's
That's
released,
we could just say closest within the dates.
Okay, I say February. I am so excited. February will be 4 years since Zero Dawn launched. So they could very well, like, it was fun 4 years. That's all they've been working on. They haven't been working on anything else, right? That's a valid development time.
It could be, but I'm still going with my November, my holiday 2021.
All right, I'm saying February. They're gonna launch as close to 4 years, day and date of the original one.
February is when they're going to launch the first one on Xbox.
It's coming to
and
PC.
Again, I've said it here.
The first one's on PC.
Will happen.
Yeah.
The first one is coming to PC, but so it wouldn't be that hard to just flip a switch and let me have it on Xbox.
Finally, at the very end, they revealed the actual PS5 hardware, the box itself, the big reveal. And this is what it looks like. For those of you listening to the podcast, of course, you have to go find pictures. I'm sure you've seen it already. But Tico, you and Glenn were both basically, as soon as they revealed it, you're like, man, that's ugly. And I'm like, oh my God, I love it.
All right, listen, I never said it was ugly. I said it was weird.
Okay, Glenn said it was ugly.
It does have actually a very pretty aesthetic to it.
Here's what I love.
The spire in Dead Space a little bit.
Here's what I love, Chico. I love the sort of futuristic aesthetic to it. I love that it's like curvy and it's just this weird this black and white two-tone. The lights are top and bottom inside the Oreo sandwich. And I don't know, I just love it because here's why. Over the years, every time there's a new console, there are always these concept designers that render these wild and fantastic, here's what the PS5, here's what the PS4 should look like, here's what the Xbox One should look like, and then, of course, they come out and they're just boxes. Xbox One came out, and we all described it as a VCR, right? The Xbox Series X comes out, and it's literally a box, right? The PS3 was the George Foreman grill, right? Yeah. The PS3 was ugly in my opinion. But there's always been these sort of futuristic spaceship-like designs that are like, man, that would be so cool. I'm finally getting the spaceship design I've kind of always hoped for in a console. And I can't explain why I love it, other than it's probably my sci-fi geek coming out.
Yeah, I mean, and you're like this is an aesthetic console. This is not one to be tucked away in a cabinet or anything like this. Will sit there. You can. It's a
piece of art to throw on your on your table. Or
it's not like Listen, the Series 1X one is a gigantic block that looks like a router, and I don't think people are going to necessarily, display that prominently, and unless you get like a fancy one of the collector's ones or something like that. This is a different story. This has a very pretty aesthetic to it. I do think it looks weird. The look of the way it looks like lying down, it makes me think of a battery that's been left out in the sun and it starts to bulge a little bit.
I actually love it in its vertical position. I think based on the look of it right now, I will probably have it standing up.
Yeah, I would probably do standing up as well, just because of the look. It has a better aesthetic standing up, I think.
But also, with both the Xbox Series X and the PS5 having a vertical mode to it. I mean, we're going back to 360 came out. It was vertical, right?
Yeah.
The PlayStation 2 also had a vertical mode. Like, this isn't a new design.
All of them were, and particularly for advertisements too. They were all shown
vertically,
to the point where even this was even shown, and you had to go back. I remember Glenn saying I had to go back 3 times to look to find a picture of it lying down.
Oh yeah, no, they showed it. They showed it lying down during the montage at the end, but it was so quick you had. But I mean, I noticed it right away, and immediately Sony shared all the images, both lying down and standing up, and the controller. But
Yeah.
here's what I like is the fact that they're both sort of built to stand up. You can put them both side by side now. They can be on the same shelf together.
Yeah.
You know?
Unless the Xbox falls over onto the PlayStation and crushes it.
The Xbox can't fall over. It's literally a freaking box.
I'm just saying, like, if it was a certain...
Here's what I hope... Sorry.
I was going to say, they did announce both a digital and a and regular edition. So
that's
they
a
are
surprise.
Yeah, particularly with their stance on, when they made fun of Microsoft for going on with an all digital.
I don't actually remember them making fun of them, but maybe they did. I don't remember that. I'm actually sort of torn between whether I want a disc or not, because I've gone almost totally digital this gen. I mean, yeah, I've got a bunch of games back there. Most of those actually, I would say all of those games were reviews, but it's even gotten to the point where reviews are not discs anymore.
They're not sending discs anymore.
Yeah,
so.
Reviews are codes. So
yeah,
I'm like, do I even
like
go? Yeah, I have, I kind of just want to go digital, and chances are it's going to be $100 cheaper to go digital. Because there's no drive.
At least $50 cheaper, right? Like at least
minimum.
50. I mean, it should be $100, but probably at least 50. I'm the same way. I do not purchase anything physical anymore. I am a full digital. And again, maybe it's a mistake. Who knows? I mean, there's a problem. Like if they ever decide to shut their servers or anything like that, going digital, you could be screwed.
Well, but if you have the games on your hard drive and they can play without internet, then you're fine. You just need to have them on hard drives. And they support, the PS4, Xbox both support external drives. Nothing to say the new ones won't.
No. No, I mean, they're only, I think it was $825 on the PlayStation. 825.
Yeah, probably. Like it's probably it's probably a terabyte minus the system storage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's what I hope. Talking about Xbox for a bit, because you mentioned Xbox is just so boring compared, and and I think it's sort of that white and black. If the PlayStation, let's just go back to the PlayStation hardware. Imagine this being all black. If it was all black, it would not have the same aesthetic.
I have seen it all black.
It doesn't look as good. I don't think it has that wow factor when it's all black.
It doesn't all over the one, and I'm sure it was a fan rendering or something, all black, but with a red light instead of a
It's all
blue.
fan rendering, yeah. This is the only one given by Sony right now.
Yeah, this is the only one. I'm just saying, having seen that aesthetic with the red light instead of the blue, did look really cool. Like a light side, dark side sort of deal.
True. However, the blue light is a PlayStation thing, because PlayStation 4 has the same light colors. Right.
And
that blue light is while it's
picture.
Yeah, of course, yeah, it is. But that blue light is when it's on, and I believe it's orange when it's off. It's actually white when it's on. But anyway, all I was saying is, if it was all black, I don't think it would have that same artistic impact.
Yeah,
but
this has a very I don't know, like. The very futuristic, clean, minimalistic look that you'd expect in the future, what is, I'm trying to think of like if you were part of the Empire.
Yes,
that
yes.
white with dark accents.
This is Darth Vader's console.
This is Darth Vader's console. This is
actually no, sorry. This is Kylo Ren's console.
Yeah,
the First Order was way more perfect and clean than the Empire. Anyway, going a little bit off topic, just talking about consoles, because we're pretty much at the end of our show. The Xbox Series X has that sort of indent in the top of the monolith, and they always showed it with like a green light. I actually really hope there's actually a green light glowing there when you turn it on, because that's pretty cool. I
want some sort of like futuristic feel to that.
I mean, if you're just going to give me a box, at least make it cool somehow.
Yeah, I want a cool box.
Yeah.
Give me the cooler box.
Yeah. Anyway, that we are at an hour already.
All right.
So yeah, there's really nothing else that's truly important to talk about this week. So I think we'll pretty much end it there. Ultimately, I love what the PS5 looks like. I am really looking forward to it, and surprisingly, my wife was really impressed with it too. I showed her. I said, "Hey, check out what the PS5 looks like." She went, "Wow, that's cool." So
she's gonna let you get one.
So that's pretty much her okay for me to go get one. Apparently, according to our friend Glenn, there were people running into EB yesterday trying to pre-order it already. In fact, one guy actually went in wanting to buy it because he thought it was immediately available. So people are confused.
People can get confused. The messaging, because he saw a date, he saw Sony PS5 event, and assumed, oh, that's the day I'm going to go get one.
Exactly.
We still don't have that date, do we? There's no date.
No, there's no
Nobody
dates.
Give a date or price.
Other than Holiday 2020, which is the same for Xbox. We have no dates. We have no prices. And I feel like
holiday?
This year, I said Holiday 2020.
Christmas. Yeah, which holiday? Arbor Day? Is it Arbor Day? Is it
probably? It's typically Arbor Day, right?
Yeah, it's usually Arbor Day is the big gaming release day.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think Sony is going to wait for Xbox to give a price, but I also think Xbox is waiting for Sony to give a price.
They're both playing retail chicken right now.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it'll be November. They typically are. So, you know what? Let's do it. Let's pick our dates.
All right.
If I go
exact dates, we're going exact dates. Okay.
Yeah, I want dates. So if I go to, I think it's November, and I think it's going to be that might be interesting. November 20th for the PS4.
November 20th for the PS4. All right, I'm gonna go with November 13th.
See, I was gonna do that, but 13's a bad luck number.
Yeah, I'm going November 13th.
So I think they're gonna skip the 13th for the PS4.
For the PS4, I'm going November 13th. And just based off of the history of how this has been done, I'm going November 27th for the Xbox.
Oh, you think Xbox is after the PS4?
I think Xbox is going to announce first, and then Sony's going to try to undercut them by 2 weeks.
So I'm going with the 20th and the 27th. I'm going to also say 27th for Xbox.
Okay.
I agree. But I'm going to say the 20th for the PlayStation.
Okay. So we're a week apart on our guesses on the PlayStation, and we are dead on.
And price-wise?
Price-wise, I'm going to go with a $4.99. Are we going Canadian or American price point?
Canadian.
Oh, Canadian. Okay, I got to do the retail math then.
Or you can. Okay. Yeah, let's do Canadian. I don't care.
Well, I'm going with a $4.99 price point for the Xbox American, $4.99 American. So whatever that works out to, $5.80 or something like that.
$5.79. Yeah.
And I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with $100 more on the disced version of the
PlayStation.
The PlayStation.
You think it's going to be $600?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think $4.99 for the discless.
I don't think Sony is going to be $100 more. I am actually thinking they're both going to come out at the exact same price, $4.99.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The discless version.
No,
is $4.99.
because I'm going to say $4.99 for both disc versions, and then $3.49 for the discless version.
So $150 less.
Sorry, $4.49. $50 less.
$50 less. Okay.
50 or 100. I mean, it could be 100 to really get more people. But you know what? I think they're going to knock $50 off. It's
going to be 50 because that leaves them an extra $50 to play with later.
Yes. And it also pushes more disc versions because people are like, it's only $50.
Yeah.
So I'm saying $4.99 for Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 disc version. Okay. And then $4.49 for the discless version.
I'm going $4.99 for the Xbox and the discless, and I'm saying I'm gonna knock $50 off of that. I'm gonna go $5.49 for the for the PlayStation disced version.
So $50 more than Xbox.
Yes.
All right. You said,
but they'll have the discless version to compete directly with the pricing.
All right.
So I
think that's the wrong. If that's true, I think that's the wrong decision because it's not an even match. So okay.
Well, listen.
It's done.
It's been my guesses.
We've stamped it. It's been stamped in OMG Hour history, and that is it. We're done. Done. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for watching. You can follow the show on the Twitterverse at the OMG Hour, and of course I am Ziantane everywhere, and that is XIANTAYNE.
And I am Mr. Second Place, and you can spell it yourselves.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Second Place. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back next week. Take care.
Bye, guys.